Hi, my name is Franco Herrera. We're here once again on continuance with our series of Perfume, the story of a murder by Patric Süskind. And today I want to kind of follow up or delve a little into more of the stylistic of the writing, the stylism of the writing. And I kind of want to address something. More importantly, the irony down the book. So the book, honestly, something I have not mentioned before, which I wanted to leave for the last videos, which are like kind of my analysis. It's kind of how the book completely obliterates society in every simple shape, way, or form. Every pillar of society is completely made fun of and kind of satirically just dropped down, mostly in religion, kind of wealth, sentimentalism, like every single pillar of society, it's kind of broken into. So the irony lies in how everyone throughout the book just thinks about their own interests. And all of them, every character, ironically, um, kind of falls over or kind of doesn't reach that conclusion, right? So the first character I want to talk about is the Pope, the initial Pope in the book, which takes in um, Grenouille, right after the wet nurse kind of like just gives him away and be like, take the child, I don't want it anymore. So he, um, ironically, wants family, even though he went right onto a career or a path that prohibited from that, right? Being a pope, you're married to God. So once he has Grenouille in his hands, he has like this moment in which he starts thinking about what if he would have been a father, and he's like harassing the child and everything. And immediately Grenouille wakes up, looks at him, and he gets the chills. So what he does is that he gives him away, right? Because he gets scared. And that's the irony. Like, you wanted a family, you wanted to be a father, and yet you still followed a path which would prohibit you from that. That's like a kind of a small, kind of not really as relevant. But also in that section, they talk about how throughout this era and throughout the Pope's perspective, the narrator states that the Pope is actually tired of how society deems everything to be of the devil. Kind of the wet nurse is like, this child is from the devil, please take him away from me. And he's actually completely over it because he says that people are obsessed with witchcraft, and like in that era everything is witchcraft. So a woman reads, she's a witch. A woman does something, she's a witch. Something like different happens and it's from the devil. So that's kind of actually an ironical take on kind of this periodical moment of how people thought that everything that they did not understand, and they did not bother to want to understand, was actually from the devil or was actually pagan and kind of like that. So that is when that pillar of like religion is kind of like just you know. Then later on, Mrs. Madame Gaylord, you know how she saved 50% of the money, I already mentioned this, for the kids and then 50% for her. It was because her goal in life, her only purpose in life, was to have a proper and honorable death. And she was actually saving up money in order to, when she died, she would get a casket and like be kind of well, like, you know, taken care of and everything once she died, because she didn't want to die as her husband and like this graveyard and like just tossed upon it like in poverty and everything, which ironically at her death, the money in like kind of, we're in an era of actual when we see evolution coming over, and so the money that she had from those times was out of value, didn't have any value anymore. So at the end of the day, what she saved for her entire life didn't actually matter at all, and at the end she got tossed away like everyone else, and she died in poverty and did not have an honorable death at all. Another ironical moment was with Giuseppe Valdini, which was one like a mentor to Granville. He was the alchemist who made perfumes and everything, and he was obsessed with wanting success, wealth, a high, like, continue in his high end peace and like high end mountain of society in which he was. And you know what happened at the end? His whole like business came crawling down, like literally just got destroyed. And at the end, he became poor. And that's another ironical thing about how wanting wealth and these materialistic ideals and everything, at the end of the day, it all comes crawling down. So basically, everyone met a death ironical to what they actually wanted in the book. And the only person that actually kind of had... also, sorry, I drifted away. And also, the main character also kind of had an ironical death, in the meaning that, so he wanted love, so that was the purpose of creating this perfume, right? So people could love him. And once he realized that he could not be loved, even with the perfume, he just decides to kill himself, because he wanted to be loved so much, and at the end of the day, it did not happen. So all of those characters kind of like wanted or were obsessed with something, and they did not achieve it. Or eventually, if they did successfully achieve it, they honorably failed at the end. So that is kind of really an important aspect of the novel, how Patric did not censor anything in that way and came for the throat of various personages that represented various things in society, and how all of these things really don't matter, like in general. That's actually kind of the irony behind all of the book. This is really interesting to watch. So that is what I wanted to discuss. I don't really want to bore you out. I know this series has been pretty long. But yeah, that's basically it. Next video, we're gonna do final thoughts and my likings and opinions in the book and what I think about it. And thank you for being here with me. Once again, have a great day and continue reading.